I believe we all have the same experience. Study for an exam for days, only to forget everything you memorized or learned during the exam. You do the flashcards, read them over and over again, but still, you failed the exam. But somehow, you can still remember a meaningful conversation from years ago, or your friend accidentally called you dad 10 years ago in elementary school when you were running into him. Why does it happen? One possible explanation comes from the levels of processing theory. By learning this theory, we can better understand how memory works and study more effectively. Deep processing also creates richer associations, give us more potential to retrieve clues later in life. If you're ready, let's continue our topic. The level of processing theory was proposed by psychologists Fergus, Craik, and Robert Lockhart in 1972. Okay, let's stop here for a moment. I figure you notice that most of the models, experiments, and theories in cognitive psychology mainly focus on the 1950s to 1970s. There were reasons behind it. 1. The computer was invented during that period of time. 2. Behavioralism cannot explain the questions of mind, so the scholars found their ways and paths to study in other perspectives. 3. Scientists found that we don't need to see our mind to study it, such as Miller's The Magical Numbers 7 plus minus 2, Broadbent's filter model of attention, and Atkinson's and Schifrin's model of memory. It's all because during that time, it was a cognitive revolution against the idea of behavioralism. So, it is not surprising that this theory was developed and proposed in the 70s, given what we have learned about working memory, misinformation, and reconstructive memory. Back to the topic. The main idea of levels of processing was surprisingly simple. How well we remember information depends partly on how deeply we process it. In other words, simply seeing information is not the same as actually thinking about it. The more deeply and meaningfully we process something, the more likely we are to remember it later. What does depth of processing mean? When we encounter information, our brain can process it in different ways. Imagine you see the word apple. You could pay attention to what the word looks like, sounds like, or you could even think about what the word actually means. This concept encompasses different levels of processing, including structural, phonemic, and semantic, and they move from relatively shallow processing to deep processing. Level 1. Structural processing. Structural processing focuses on the physical appearances of information. For example, if you see the word apple, you might ask, is this word written in capital letters? How many letters does it have? What does the word look like? You are processing the information, but you are not thinking about its meaning. This is considered a relatively shallow level of processing because information is processed primarily based on its physical features. It usually yields weaker memory than deeper forms of processing. Level 2. Phonemic processing. Rather than appearances, phonemic processing focuses on sound. For example, you might think about how the word apple is pronounced. You might also ask whether it rhymes with other words. This requires us to analyze the information differently. We are no longer simply looking at its physical appearances. However, we still haven't necessarily thought deeply about what the word actually means. Because of this processing is generally considered deeper than structural processing, but shallower than semantic processing. Level 3. Semantic processing. Semantic processing focuses on meaning. Instead of asking what apple looks like or sounds like, you think about what an apple actually is. You imagine a red apple, about its sweet or sour taste. You remember eating one, or perhaps the word reminds you of apple pie, or something that's happened in your childhood. Now the information is connected with meaning and existing knowledge. This is considered deep processing. And information processed semantically tends to be remembered better than information processed only according to appearance or sound. Why does deeper processing help memory? One reason is that deeper processing creates richer connection. If I only remember that apple was written in capital letters, I have very little information to help me retrieve that memory later. But if I think about its meaning, I might connect apple with fruit, food, red color, sweet taste, apple pie, and any personal experience that is related to apples or other information that I already know. Instead of creating only one simple feature, I have created a richer network of associations. Those associations can provide additional ways to retrieve the information later. This is why meaning matters so much for memory. For the main idea, the levels of processing theory give us a different way of thinking about memory. Learning is not only about how many times we see something, it matters what we do with that information as we learn it. Looking at the word is processing. Thinking about its sounds is processing. But understanding its meaning, connecting it to existing knowledge, and considering what it represents requires deeper processing. So when we talk about the levels of processing theory, the basic idea is shallow processing focus on surface features. Deeper processing focus more on meaning. And in general, the deeper and more meaningful the processing, the stronger the memory is likely to be. That is the central idea behind the levels of processing theory. If you still cannot engage with this theory, what about I use the example of Elden Ring? It will hit you hard in the head and make it easier to absorb the information in this video. Okay, I'm going to use my gameplay video recording right now, so don't judge me if you see me cheat in the fight. I was a mage after all. Welcome to Cognitive Psychology Tarnished. Let's turn our time back to before the DLC came out. Malenia was the hardest boss in Elden Ring, so we are back to the first level, structural processing. What does it look like? In this example, you only pay attention to her appearances, like Malenia has red hair, she has a golden helmet and armor, she is holding a long sword. I'm not sure if that called sword or takana. You saw her appearances, but not deep processing information she might hold right now, which produces a formula. Appearances equal to shallow processing. Now we are in level 2, Phonemic Processing. What does it sound like? Now, you begin to notice her voice and language as you start a fight with her. How is the name Malenia pronounced? How to spell her name? What does her name sound like? For this example, you are done processing her appearances, and now you focus on the audio characteristics. So sounds equal to somewhat deeper processing. Now we are in level 3, Semantic Processing. What does it mean? At this level, you begin to think about what this character actually means within the game. You start to understand who is Malenia, what is her relationship with Mikula, why is she associated with Scarlet Rot, how does her story connect to the world of Elden Ring or Land Between? You even start to connect and combine the new information with what you already know. So now, Malenia is no longer a red-haired badass woman with sword, but change it into a whole interconnected concept. Malenia, Mikula, Scarlet Rot, Killed, Radon, Lord, your own gameplay experience. So for this level, the formula will be like meaning plus connections equal to deep processing. Something about finding a pattern in her fight style too. To be able to learn how to dodge her waterfowl dance attack, you will need to observe and find the open spot to dodge the whole thing. After 3 hours you spent, finally managed to learn how to dodge to the front while she is heading toward you to do the waterfowl dance. or you use the freeze part to stop this movement. It is not only related to the levels of processing theory, but also to attention, pattern recognition, procedures learning, and rehearsal. When she jumps into the air and aims at you, this visual stimulus has the meaning to you that you know she is going to do the dance, and you will automatically think that then waterfowl dance is coming. This illustrates the idea behind deeper processing. Instead of focusing only on the surface features of information, we analyze it, find meaning in it, and connect it with what we have already learned. So basically, it will be the pattern you go through. First time waterfowl, you will be like, she is attacking me, then you die. After 20 times, wait, there's a pattern, and then you still die. And then you try again in the 50th time. That movement predicts waterfowl. You die again. So 3 hours later, it's just like movement, waterfowl dance, timing, dodge forward. So basically it's what is happening. And you see the process, you are making a deeper understanding for her actions and movement. And then you didn't know she also have a second phase too, and you die another 50 times in a game, just like we all did. Well, after dying to beat Malenia 147 times, you probably won't forget her anyway. Okay, we gotta stop the video games here and go back to your study. You just failed your exam, and you still don't understand why you didn't get the outcome you expected, even though you were diligent and studied for it. The level of processing is telling you that don't just expose yourself to information, do something meaningful with it. First, when you study, ask yourself a question. Do you really understand the material? Can you explain it to someone else about what you learned? To deeply process the information you need to slay a dragon in your exam, you need to process the meanings behind what you learned. For example, you need to learn what an action potential means. In shallow processing, you only know the definitions of action potentials, but in deep processing, you can explain why an action potential happens. So rule of the deep processing is using the new informations and combines with your existing knowledge. Just like what we do right now, I'm making this video and you know what level processing means as you learn it in Elden Ring. By now, you probably already understand and can explain the whole thing to me, just like I explained it to you. Second, when you learn a new skill, find a pattern and meaning behind it. Fighting malenia is the best example to illustrate these points for you. However, it is also in theories and explanations beyond the level of processing, such as pattern recognitions, rehearsal, retrieval practice, attention, and procedure learning. Third, take a step further by using your imagination to connect your new knowledge to the old knowledge you have in mind, and create meaning for the new information. Last, always ask why when you learn. So think deeply. By the time comes, you might find that everything you learn in school actually relates to your life.
true lord. Oh, dear Mikola. Oh, dearest Mikola. My brother. I'm sorry. I finally met my match.